Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. It is the full moon of April, the Uposatha, 1 Phra, here in Thailand, and this means I have been here in Thailand for 3 months, lunar months. I left India on the day of the full moon of January, maybe the day after. And therefore I have had, well, I don't know, I've lost count, some few Uposatha days here in Thailand, which are recognized and enjoyed. And this is what the Buddha wanted of us. He taught us there's suffering, a cause of suffering, and end of suffering, and a path leading to the end of suffering, and encouraged us to reflect wisely on the reality, the truth of this and of our very existence. Each day in the temple we chant the recollection of the five subjects to be frequently recollected is the English title of the chant, and I'm sorry I don't know it off by heart, otherwise maybe I would have commenced this talk with that. But translated into English is: we are of the nature to die, we are of the nature to age, we are of the nature to get sick, we are of the nature to die, and all things that are dear to us we will be parted from, and we are responsible for our own karma and the results or heirs to our karma. So karma being our actions of body, speech and mind. But I started by saying the Buddha wanted us to enjoy ourselves. So it isn't all doom and gloom when we reflect upon these frequently recollected subjects like aging, sickness and death. It is to understand, it is to develop through this practice wisdom, understanding and knowing of the truth of suffering. Excuse me. Because only through this knowing and understanding of the truth of suffering can we find our way of becoming free from suffering in this lifetime, by recognizing its cause. Now, its primary cause is through the lack of understanding of it, ignorance or delusion. And this comes a lot from our own human nature, our own desires or desire to survive, to live, to continue our species through procreation and to sustain our existence through eating. These are our basic fundamental needs. And then also using those often to distract ourselves from what is unpleasant, what is painful, the things we don't like, whether it be emotionally or physically, through distraction. So rather than just eating what we need, we eat what we like. Maybe rather than just eating enough, we eat more than enough. This gives us a sense of control, because it gives us some relief, but very temporarily, of how we may be suffering, either emotionally or physically, but it is a distraction. So we're taught through these teachings, this frequent recollection, that there is a better way. So let's just look at that. There is aging, sickness, and death. These three things are inevitable. They are what we are born into, this human life. It is impermanent. We will get old, we will get sick, and we will die. And other people, other things that we like, other people we may love, relations, friends, even inanimate aspects of our lives, things we acquire that we would like to last forever, even activities as such that we would like to continue doing throughout our lives. We will be parted from them. They will be taken from us. We cannot have everything forever. And even if we sustain a relationship of the deepest and fondest love with another human being, one of us will die first. So even if they are not taken from us, we will be taken from them. And this is the fourth of those 5 subjects for frequent recollection. So aging, sickness, and death, and the very fact that we're parted from all the things we love. We can't do anything about that, which sounds a bit bleak. However, yes, we can. What we can do about it is how it affects us, how we perceive it, how we deal with it. Now, just on a side, I'm being Uposatha today. My robes are all newly boiled up in all of that wood solution and dyed and cleaned. And my head is newly shaven. I'm a new monk. I'm still the same old monk, but just tidied up a little. And on Alms Round this morning, we see many monks in the village and then in the town. We walk about a mile, or what is that, 1.5, 2 kilometers, in our bare feet along the stony ground, into the village, and then from there into the town. We do get a lift back because it's uphill and we have a lot to carry. And I noticed all of the monks that I see from day to day today are all looking all fresh and young. They all look younger and brighter. And I thought, oh, everyone looks fresher and younger and brighter today. And then I realized, well, it's of course because all of the monks, doesn't matter how many there are in any monastery, 100 or just 4 as there are here, 4 and 1 novice. We all shave our heads on that same day. But of course, they're the same monks that I saw yesterday a little less bright, a little less shiny, a bit more disheveled. Probably the same as myself, I don't know, I can't see myself, there's no shop windows, so no reflections. But probably worse than most, I should think, not being used to this increasingly hot climate, more insects, and the wearing of these robes, which I've only been doing for a few years, so it takes some getting used to. My perception was that suddenly everybody's younger, but of course they're not. It's the same monks, the same people, just a different day, and we're all just slightly polished up a little. That doesn't take us away from this truth of aging, sickness and death, or that we will be parted. One day maybe I won't be able to live here in this, at the moment, an ideal environment for my practice. And I'm aware of that. Everything is impermanent. We call it anicca in the Pali language. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. Dukkha being that also everything is unsatisfactory, and anatta, usually translated as not self, is that most things are out of our control. All things, including these bodies, are out of our control. This is the way I look at that word. Meaning that these selves are not our own personalities, or what we see, recognize as our personalities. This British man who is a monk living in Thailand is purely a result of causes and conditions that have ended up that way. I am this because of causes and conditions that came about. Karma, karmic action. Things I have either done in this life or previous. You can take this immediate life, actions of body, speech and mind, to change what I was, a businessman in the UK, eventually to being this, what I am today. Still this same old person inside, physically, but not really. Our bodies are continually replacing the cells and changing over time. Something like every 7 years, we have an entirely new set of parts. Like a broom, you change the head of the broom, the sweeping part, when it wears out, and you carry on with this broom. And when the stick part, the handle, breaks, you replace that, and you carry on. Is it the same broom? To all intents and purposes, it's doing the same function. It looks the same, and it's still your broom. But it's been replaced. The top has been replaced, and the handle has been replaced. So in effect, it's not the same broom, but we perceive it as such. So this brings me on to our fifth subject for frequently recollecting. Wish I'd picked a subject more easy to say. But this fifth subject for more frequently recollecting is that of we are responsible for our karma and the heirs of our karma. To sum it up quickly, heirs of our karma being whatever we do or cause will have an effect, a result. Now, if we do good, it will have good results. If we do bad, it will have bad results. Now, given this knowledge and understanding that we cannot change the fact that we will age, we will get sick, and we will die, and we will be parted from all that is dear to us. What can we change of these 5 frequently recollected subjects? Well, we can change our actions, all of our intended actions of body, speech and mind, through this practice of sila, samadhi, panya. Sila being just keeping some simple rules, the 5 precepts, and samadhi, meditation, And wisdom, panya, well, developing wholesome mind states, reducing unwholesome mind states. Now, through this practice, if we can keep those precepts, no killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, or the taking of intoxicants, then we are making it so much more easy for ourselves not only to meditate, because we have less to be worried about. If we keep precepts, we don't need to worry about the past or the future. We can be more in the present moment. And this is a better place to be with our minds when we come to meditate. If you wish to develop samadhi, this one-pointed focus on a meditation object, freeing the mind from the tethers, the ties, the chains of, say, guilt or worry or restlessness about little misdemeanors, little faults, little things you may have done and wished you hadn't, or even not so much wish you haven't, but hope you get away with it. These things will always be pulling you back into the past, about worrying about what you've done, and imagining into the future about what is going to happen about that. So just by keeping those 5 simple rules, the precepts, you're well on the way to then having good practice of meditation. By that I mean no phenomenal, outstanding, miraculous, flashing lights, levitation, transcendental moments, but simply being able to sit and allow the body to settle. Because if you allow the body to settle, it will relax of its own accord. And to sit and allow the mind to settle. Because if you allow the mind to settle, with a little time, it will become calm. If you've been keeping sila, those 5 precepts, this is so much easier to do. And through this practice, you are starting to develop wisdom. You're clearing the mind, you're brightening your view, you're enabling it to see clearly. Like sand or dirt settling in water, it becomes clear. This is what we mean by vipassana, seeing clearly. And it is samadhi, this sitting meditation, focused, one-pointedness, that goes hand in hand with vipassana, which is the mindfulness we can practice throughout our everyday lives. All of our waking moments, seeing clearly, being aware. And through this, we can see that there is joy in a calm mind. There is pleasure in a relaxed body, without succumbing to our carnal desires, our desires for procreation, for eating, overindulging, for entertainment, for all of the things there is nothing morally wrong with. And at the right time, in the right place, as a lay person, are quite appropriate. But you can find time in your day to appreciate what you have in its purity without them, which is pure joy, pure pleasure, bliss. piti and sukha, which is joy and rapture, rapture and joy. Now, knowing this, we are able to see that when we're concerned, as we are, about aging, when we're concerned about getting sick, when we're concerned about dying, it is only because we have attached ourselves to the liking of what we can have when we're young and fit and healthy, thinking we are always going to be that way and a long way from death. We cling, we attach to those things that we enjoy. And that's okay also. But not if you think that that will last forever. So the true development of wisdom is the development of right view, which is the first, number one, the first step of this noble eightfold path. You see, sila, moral virtue, samadhi, meditation, and panya, wisdom, is just a three-part summary of the Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path, which begins with right view. And that is this understanding that everything is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and out of our control. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. When we understand that, and we can no longer swim for an hour across the ocean, we can no longer, I don't know, run a mile in however long it takes to run a mile for a fit person. We can no longer attract the pretty lady or the handsome man. We can no longer even get up from our chair without feeling strain and discomfort. When this happens, it should come as no surprise. We should know everything is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and out of our control. And this is just this natural, inevitable result of being human. So we can still enjoy this life, and more so when these things don't take us by surprise. So the first time you get up and it's difficult, you don't say, oh, that's it, that's the end of my fun in this world. You say, well, that's anicca. It's aging, sickness and death. Like I reflect upon every day when I reflect those 5 subjects frequently. I am of the nature to age, nature to get sick, the nature to die. I'll be parted from all that I love. Your job goes, you're made redundant, or you retire. You have to get a smaller house, which you loved your big house. You have to get a cheaper car, and you loved your expensive car. Your wife leaves you for another man, your husband leaves you for another woman, or a combination of whatever you like. Should you be totally devastated and disappointed? You may be a little emotionally for a while, but less so when you see the inevitability in all things by their impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and uncontrollableness. The rest of the Noble Eightfold Path is the Buddha's step-by-step guide. So we have developed right view, quite simply, by just reflecting upon the reality of our existence. And what can we do to change? Well, we cannot change the fact we're aging. We cannot change the fact we're going to get sick and die, or be parted from what we love. But we can change all of our actions of body, speech and mind, intended actions of body, speech and mind, by this practice of this Noble Eightfold Path. So by practicing, keeping the precepts, practicing meditation and developing our minds, developing wisdom. And we do this how? By simply this right view, which is that, in summary, by having right intention, So occasionally a precept or something may happen. You accidentally, I thought I'd accidentally killed one of my little friends, a frog that lives in my bathroom yesterday, and I've been quite devastated. Not so much because I've been parted from something I hold dear, my little friend, but a lot to do with the fact I thought I'd killed an animal. I'd killed a being, a living being. Now, of course, unintentionally. It was really, the dilemma was, it certainly wasn't intentional that he accidentally got washed down the toilet. He was in the wrong place at the right time. Where I was at fault is I felt that if I had been practicing more mindfully, just taking things a little bit more slowly, I have a tendency to rush things, then I may have noticed him. He's very small and it was very dark, and this wouldn't have happened. Now, guilt is a very pointless thing, so I didn't feel guilty, but I was reflective over how I could have done things better. Anyway, it's a happy ending. He turned up. The toilet systems here are very simple, so he's not going to end up out to sea or something like that in 1,000 miles away. I did think he could possibly come back, and the homing instinct they have. Yesterday evening, I went into the bathroom, and it wasn't dark yet, so the sun hadn't set, and there he was sitting in his usual place staring at me. And I said, "Oh, Mr. Frog, I'm so sorry. I hope it wasn't too bad." And he still looked happy and the same. But you see, we can prevent little accidents by practicing mindfulness in our everyday lives. But that is a little bit of a grey area. But we can try, at least, to intentionally not break any of the 5 precepts. And that covers most of the Noble Eightfold Path. Of right intention is the second, right speech is the third, right action is the fourth, so action, body, speech and mind there, in intention, speech and action. And then right livelihood, which is a bit of all of them, the kind of work we do to make a living. If your job is to go and assassinate people, you're not going to be keeping sila. So maybe change your job. If then after right livelihood, so it's right effort. So this is how effort, or just that, the effort we put in to keeping sila, to practicing some meditation and to developing our minds. So with this, and by right effort, it means effort towards those, using our energy towards the development of sila, samadhi, panya. You see, we have a lot of energy. We have more energy than we need, which is why we have to have sports, why we have to have entertainment, why we have to do all sorts of things. It's difficult ordinarily for people to just sit and do nothing. They need to burn up the energy. Now, why is this? Well, because we've eaten more than we need, and we've stimulated our minds more than they need to be stimulated. And this develops energy. But it's not right effort or right energy if it's just giving you energy to run to the shops and buy more cake. No. You should redirect this energy. You've invested in your body, keeping it healthy, and in your mind, keeping it stimulated. You've invested time, effort, and that's okay. But then don't waste what you've invested on burning it up unnecessarily. Reinvest that in an investment that is going to grow for you into the future, into keeping the precepts. So by that I mean to just be a bit more careful when you're rinsing around in the bathroom, in order that you don't accidentally wash any frogs down the toilet, is going to require a little bit more effort than to just go in and out and do things quickly. Sometimes to be kind to someone requires a little bit more effort than to just walk on by. Even sometimes to smile at a stranger may require effort rather than just ignore them. This is right effort. And right samadhi or right meditation comes next, number 7. Right mindfulness, sati, right mindfulness comes next, number 7, which I've just been talking about, right mindfulness. And then finally right samadhi, right concentration, which will come as a result of the former 7, really. And it requires you only to sit and allow the body to settle, the mind to settle. And the instant karmic result of allowing your body to settle and the mind to settle is the body will relax, the mind will become calm. The body will experience pleasure and the mind will experience joy. And now it's that the Buddha wanted us to experience. Pleasure and joy. So frequently recollecting these 5 subjects, that I will get old, get sick and die, and all things I love I will be parted from, and I am the heir to my karma, is by no means a bleak prospect. It's a very cheery view. It is right view. It is wisdom to understand that there's no distraction from the truth that there is suffering, a cause of suffering, but there is wisdom, which is knowing that there's an end of suffering and a path leading to the end of suffering. And this is our only refuge. Our refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha is that of, when we say these chants, we're not praying, oh, please Buddha, please God, please don't let me die soon, don't let me be sick, don't let me get old. We're asking to understand by reminding ourselves of these teachings, by repeating them every day. There's no question, there's no request in that whole chant. It's just reflecting, it's reminding ourselves of these truths so that these teachings sink in to our hearts. Now this is how we change how the very nature of our existence, our lives, how we are affected by these changes. So when we find it difficult to get out of our seat, when we can no longer see so clearly, when we're out of breath after a short walk, it comes as no surprise. It's normal. But what do we still have? What do we still have? Well, yes, you can still go to the pub and have some drinks, or you could get some pizza and watch a movie to distract yourself. But this is only trying to quench an unquenchable thirst. It's only trying to satisfy insatiable desires. It's only adding fuel to the fire of craving. And what we need to do is cool this craving, cool this tanha, it's called, thirst, by replacing it with chanda, which is a wholesome desire for developing wholesome mind states and reducing unwholesome mind states through this practice. And just to remind you again, this is so easy. Just keep 5 precepts, meditate. The wisdom aspect will come as a result of that. And reflecting on your day, each and every day. Have I kept my precepts today? Well, not all of them, but at least I kept one. Maybe I'll try again tomorrow. Not maybe, I will try again tomorrow. And pat yourself on the back for the 1 precept you kept today. Don't tell yourself off for the 4 you didn't keep, or even the 5. Congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back for the 5 or the 1 you keep tomorrow. You're going to try and keep tomorrow, and forget about the past. But most importantly, you don't even need to really imagine what will happen tomorrow or the future. What you have here and now is just that. It is free from suffering. It is in a place where you are absolutely responsible in this moment for your own karma, your actions of body, speech and mind. This is why you hear this so often, come back to the moment, here and now, the present. Why? Because it's only here and now, in this moment, you can create any karma. You can't predict what you're going to do in the future, and you can't change what you've done in the past. You can't always, you certainly can't, be totally in control of what you're going to say now or next. I'm certainly not. But if you build the foundations of sila, keeping precepts, and you develop your ability to keep your mind on a subject through meditation, and open your eyes to see clearly through mindfulness, then the chances are what comes out of your mouth will be far more skillful than it would have been before. And these aren't immediate results, but given time, you'll see how things develop. You only have to look back a few months and ask yourself, what would I have said in this situation 3 months ago? And if you've been practicing Sila, Samadhi, Panya for 3 months, what you would have said 3 months ago compared to what you'll say now is probably very different. You already have developed some equanimity, some patience. You've already developed compassion, understanding. Because you've been doing what we've been taught by the Buddha. Through this legacy of the Dharma, the Buddha's teachings, which are here for us to be able to enjoy getting old, even enjoy getting sick and dying. If you're prepared, you can deal with any eventuality. So why not prepare yourself for the inevitable? You don't have to go to the temple every day and chant this chant. Just say to yourself, after or before your daily reflection, I will get old, I will get sick, I will die. I will lose all the things I love. I am the heir to my karma. All my actions of body, speech and mind, which I can only do here and now, in this moment, will have an effect on what happens and how I experience things to come. So, if you're sitting and you're meditating, you're enjoying a relaxed body, and you're so happy and filled with joy, with a calm mind, then that is the very best thing you can be doing in any given moment. It is to some extent calm and neutral, in that you're not doing anything overly good, but you are developing wholesome mind states, which is the very best thing you can do. This mind is the forerunner of all things. And therefore, by developing the mind, you will start to behave more like the Buddha. Your generosity, your compassion, and your joy for others' success will be far greater than if you didn't practice this meditation and you didn't keep these precepts. So I should leave it there because time is marching on. And I think as I started, did I say when I started, as time marches relentlessly on, how well have we been spending our time? This is how we should reflect each and every day as the opening to our reflection. And if we can answer that, well, I've kept the most of the precepts, I've practiced some meditation, and I've been developing my wholesome mind states. Then you have been spending your time well, skillfully. Thank you for watching. Sabitiyo vivajantu sabarogo vinyasatu mate bhavatu vantarayo sukhitikayuko bhavan bhavatu sabba mangalam ragantu sabba devata sabba buddha nubhavena sabba dhamma nubhavena sabba sangha nubhavena sadasoti bhavantu te.